Alrighty, well, it's a little after 1, so we'll get started. Thank you everybody for joining. Hope you're having a great Thursday so far. Um, I'm Johnny Freeman. I'm Pozotron's Customer Outreach Manager, and we have our wonderful CEO, Adam Fritz, on the call as well. And today we are going to be taking you through the basics of Pozotron. So we'll be covering the essential features and techniques that are available to you in Pozotron. So if this is your first look at Pozotron, this is a great place to be. We're not going to be going too deep into advanced features or advanced workflows today, but I will be highlighting some new features as we go through the studio. If you haven't been in Pozotron for a while, you'll learn about those as well. So hopefully you learned something new today. So specifically, what we're going to be covering is the basic workflow in Pozotron, and that starts from creating your project, um, prepping your project with pronunciations and characters before you record. Then once the recording's been done, we'll get to the proofing section, and I'll cover the useful reports and exports that you'll need to do your pickups. The audio analysis tool, which is our final check in Pozotron, and then I'll be covering some best practices, and we'll leave time for questions at the end. But also, as we go through this, you have me and Adam live here. We like to answer your questions as they come up. So don't hesitate to interrupt us at any point. Just use the Q&A box so we can keep track of your questions. And sometimes it gets lost in the chat. So please make sure you use the Q&A box, which the position of it changed. So you might need to click more and then Q&A to open that box up. But yeah, either way, we'll get right into it. So the very first thing you'll need to do to use any of Pozotron's tools is to create your project. And there's a whole bunch of settings in here, but if this is your first time using Pozotron, really all you need to do is give it a title and upload the script. So Pozotron bases a lot of its proofing and prep algorithms on the script, so we need that first. And I'll show you where to upload that. Actually pull up Pozotron here. So when you get logged in, this is what you'll see. Actually, to get logged in from our Pozotron website here, you can just click this login button. That'll prompt you to create an account if you haven't created one already, but if you do have one, it'll bring you right to this page. And to get started, you'll see I have some projects listed here. This might be blank for you. You'll just want to click this Create New Project button on the right here. That'll open up this window where the only required fields are the project title. So I would call this demo project, and then I'd upload the script here. You can just drag and drop it or click this box and it'll open up a window for you to select it. But that can be a PDF, EPUB, text, or Word document. All those will work great. Like I said, if this is your first time using Pozotron, I'd recommend just uploading the script and leaving the settings on default. Then you'll get a feel for how Pozotron works. Once you've used us, the options in here allow you to customize your experience. So things like the sensitivity of our proofing algorithm, you could tell Pozotron to relax, stop flagging so many things. I don't need all of that. Or you can actually increase the sensitivity here and make it more strict with its proofing algorithm. So once you use it for a little while, you see how Pozotron reacts to your voice and your projects. You can then change these settings here. Once you've got that configured, hit Create, and that will populate a thumbnail down here, and these are the projects. So once you've made a few projects, it can be really useful to create a folder, which you can do so with this little 3-dot menu here. I can add a new folder, and I'm just going to call this Jungle Book Projects. And so, because this can get pretty cluttered if you do a lot of projects in Pozotron, now I can select these projects and just move them to the Jungle Book projects folder here. And if I move that, now it's a lot cleaner. We've got a cleaned up homepage.
One thing to note on folders, we are working on adding drag and drop functionality because that's the next natural thing.
Yeah, that'll be really nice. But for now, just click the little box and hit this move button. Um, but with that, we've got our project created. So now I can actually use Positron's tools. So I'm going to click on this project. That'll bring me into it. And the first tab that you're brought to is always the proofing tab. Now, all of our tools are listed up at the top here. There's different tabs for each of Positron's tools. And the first one I'm going to walk you through is the pronunciation guide, or our prep tools, which are these right here. If I move forward, we can help you prep with pronunciation, with character voices. We can help you mark up your script, and I'll show you the transfer research feature at the end. But these are the prep tools. And we recommend using this right away. So right when you get your script, you upload it to Positron and then come to the pronunciation tab. Uh, the reason for this is what Positron does when you upload your script, it's going to scan your entire manuscript and try and find all of the difficult words that exist in there. And that can be made up words, complex words, foreign words, anything that might trip you up when you're recording. If I click this open suggestions list, we'll see a lot of these. We'll see a lot of words. These are straight from our script. So Positron's put together this little list here, and so this gives me a snapshot of all those difficult words. But the really useful thing is we are integrated with these online dictionaries here. So you click this button here. That'll show you our the options you have to select. We have Oxford US, Oxford Great Britain, Orvo, Merriam-Webster, and the Pronounceology database. So choose which one you want Positron to check first. So I have Merriam-Webster selected here. So when I add a word to my research list, it's going to pull whatever it finds from Merriam-Webster right here. So I can see it pulled the phonetic spelling here, as well as a recording.
Algorithm.
So it's really quick. You can jump through this list, adding any words you have questions on that you want to research. You can also ignore any words that you don't want added to the list here. That'll just remove them. And we can jump through right away, researching words very, very quickly. Now, there's a couple of things that'll come up. So if we add a word like, let's see here, let me add Dartmoor. We can add, actually, chairing is a good example here. So chairing, Positron pulled what it found in Merriam-Webster, but I can see this is probably incorrect.
Char.
So it's pulling a different word here. So what I'm going to have to manually research this word. And the first thing I'd recommend doing for words like this or proper nouns that aren't going to be in the dictionary is to click this cloud button here. This will get me alternative pronunciations for that word. So if I open this up, we'll see what Positron found across all of our dictionaries here. So whichever one you have selected, it'll check first, but this will show me any other examples that Positron was able to find. So on all of these words, you can click this cloud button and hear the different pronunciations for these words. Let me pull up one like this. You can see it found a ton of different examples for these words, so I can listen to this.
Algorithm.
Algorithm.
And whichever one I want to use, I'll press this plus button to add it to the project. Now, for a word like chairing, I might need to dig a little bit deeper because these don't seem to be what I'm looking for.
Chair.
Shireen.
And for words like this, our last-ditch effort to help you research these words is over here on the right-hand side. So there's a bunch of one-click links that'll allow me to research this word in Youglish or How'd You Say or OneLook, which are all great pronunciation resources. I'm going to click Youglish. And we'll see this brings up a new page. English is really handy. It just brings you to a YouTube video where someone's saying the word you're searching, and it brings you right to the timestamp as well. So if I hit play,
The Charing Cross Bridge.
I can hear an example there. I could also click next to look for another
Must
one.
have got the wrong train into Charing Cross.
So good. So that gives me an example of the pronunciation. And now I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to come back to Pozotron and I'm going to click this microphone button. This allows me to edit the pronunciation that is in your project, and I'm just going to record my own pronunciation. Charing, charing. And I can put a phonetic spelling in, I'll do something like that for charing, Charing Cross, and I can also put in the link to Youglish here. So if I ever want to return to this resource and hear, what the original sound was, I can click this external link right here. Anything to add, Adam, while I figure out what I want to talk about next?
No, I think this has been awesome. I mean, common things that we've gotten questions about. We are. Have you done the? Sorry, I was looking at another email for a minute. Have you done the how to assign multiple entries to people?
Not yet. I'm going to touch on that. That's a great
Cool.
suggestion, actually. So a couple of things that are useful beyond just researching these words. If I wanted to, I can add my own custom words up here as well. So you don't have to use our suggestions list. You can just add any word here. You'll see it'll research the word. I just put my name in there. Johnny. And that sounds pretty good. Um,
One thing
but
I do just want to touch on, actually, just a piece of feedback we got yesterday, is we don't control what we get back from the dictionary that you've chosen. So if you send, so for example, if you added Alice to a word, and I think it's from Oxford. For some reason, it sends back Alice band. We had a customer tell us yesterday she added the word Lucius, and it gave you Aloysius back from Merriam-Webster. So what we do is we send that word to the dictionary that you've chosen to use, and then we just display whatever that dictionary comes back. We don't have a way to validate that. So it is a way, so it does require a little bit of human, listen to it, like Lucius is not pronounced Aloysius. So we are kind of at the behest of whatever the dictionary sends back to us, based on what the pronunciation is. So that's not sourced by Positron. That's directly from Merriam-Webster, Oxford, Forvo, whatever dictionary you've chosen.
yeah, it's a great point. And that's exactly why this button is here. Because if you listen to this pronunciation algorithm and for some reason it's incorrect in the dictionary or it's not what you're looking for, this is where you can source all of the other available options and replace that. That's a great point. And now some of these words you might need help from somebody else let's say there's a lot of German words in your book and you have a German friend that you want to invite to the project. They can record those pronunciations for you. First off, you can share a Positron project with anyone you want with this button up here. It's completely free to add them to the project. You just have to enter their email address and assign them a role. If you have questions on the roles, use this click here button, but really you can give them whatever you'd like, just so they have access to the project. And then you'll see some of these are actually assigned already. But what I can do, let's add some more words here. I'm going to ignore these, add some more words to the list and really fill out the list here. And what I can do is I can filter this list. And I'm going to click here where it says pronunciation. I'm going to go to only incomplete. And this is going to show me words that don't have pronunciations in there. So I can just see the ones Positron wasn't able to find a pronunciation in Merriam-Webster for. Actually, and we can actually see these have been assigned to Adam at positron.com. So when Adam logs in here, he can filter this list to assign to me. And it'll change this to only show those words that have been assigned to your collaborator, your friend, your author. So it's easy for them to come in here and then click the microphone button and record those pronunciations for you. So you can collaborate. That's a big part of the pronunciation guide. The last thing I think I need to go over with the pronunciation guide is our way to import words. So you can always use our suggestions list. This is going to do, Pozotron's doing its best to find these complicated words. But if you have a list of words after you've read through the book, you can actually import up to 200 words at a time with this field here. So you go to import, export, import list. And here you can copy and paste up to 200 words. I'm just thinking of random words here. Hit save. And that'll put them all in at once. You can see how quickly it researched them. So instead of Googling 200 things individually, you can just add them all super quick. Any questions on that, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. But those are the basics of the pronunciation guide. It can really help you prepare for your recording so you don't get tripped up in the middle of it and have to Google things. You can just quickly research them here. But moving on to the character guide. So the character guide is a little similar to the pronunciation guide in the sense that Pozotron is going to give you a suggestions list. Now, this time it's looking for all of the different characters that appear in your book. And there's some really handy features to help you research these characters quickly. So first off, I can see all these names here. I can see how many times they're mentioned in the book, what page they appear on, and information like that. I can also click the count button here, and this will show me every occurrence of this character throughout the whole book. So it gives you a really nice snapshot of every mention of them. You can see how they're described and where they appear. It looks like we do have a question from Aaron. If we record our own pronunciations, do those become part of Pozotron's database and available to other users? It's a good question. So currently it does not get shared with all of our other users. It's saved to your account specifically. So once you record a pronunciation here, if it comes up again in a future project, Pozotron will remember that you researched that word and it'll automatically populate your recording, but it does not share it with everybody else. So you have your own kind of pronunciation dictionaries.
We do have a plan. Oh, I think I was mute. Oh, no, we're not muted. We do have a plan eventually to allow people to opt in to share. So you'd be able to access other people's if they opted into sharing theirs with others and essentially start to crowdsource, things that you wouldn't find in other dictionaries. That is a ways out, but it would not be forced. You would have to opt into it, and we haven't decided yet. You may not be able to access it unless you opt in or not. But that is in the plans, but not currently available.
Thanks for the question, Aaron. All right, moving back to the character guide. Oh, it looks like we're getting more questions from Dana. Can the narrator access my recording? So that depends on the permissions you give them, but if you invite anyone to your project, yes, they will be able to access and listen to all of the recordings. So if you are recording things for the narrator, yep, just give them access to this, and they'll be able to listen to all the pronunciations. They can search for particular words, and they'll be able to access all of that. Depending on the permissions you give them, they will be able to edit things as well. So they could actually record their own pronunciations or make changes. So depending on what you want them to have access to, just let us know. We can direct you to the right permissions. Excuse me. All right, keep the questions coming if you have them, but I'm going to continue on with the character guide. So last thing I showed you was this character snapshot where you can see every occurrence of them. Now, when I add a character to my character guide, the purpose of this tool is to give you a repository, essentially, where you can store all of your character information. So for Sherlock here, I can enter a photo for Sherlock if I want a physical representation. I can enter his descriptions in this field here. So he is a brilliant detective who is rude to others generally. And I can use this character snapshot to see other details about him. So it says here, he is usually very late in the mornings. Let's say that's a detail I want to save. I can just copy it from there and paste it right in here. So it's really easy to grab those cues from the book and store them in a nice place. You can also enter the voice notes. So this is what Sherlock is supposed to sound like. You know, he's got a deep baritone. He speaks quickly and has a London accent. Now, so there's some details about how he's supposed to sound. And lastly, I can record as many voice samples as I want for this character. I think actually up to 7, maybe not as many as I want, but
I think it's up to 10, actually.
up to 10. Okay.
I believe so.
So you can record a bunch of voice samples for him. I can record here up to 30 seconds. Hello, Watson, blah, blah, blah. I'll save that there, and don't judge me because I'm not an actor. I can also upload audio that I want to use for inspiration. Anyway, this saves it to the character. So now at any point when I want to get reminded of what Sherlock's supposed to sound like, I have these notes and this recording here. Another really useful feature in the character guide, you'll notice some of these entries have this AI tag right here. And this is Pozotron telling you that it was able to determine some details about this character for you when you uploaded the script. So if I add Gatsby here, and I'll add Valerie and Daisy, you'll see these actually come in preloaded with information here. So Positron was able to identify the gender of these characters, as well as pull some details about how their voice is described. So Gatsby in the book somewhere is described as urgent, matter of fact, distant. So Positron's doing its best to help you research these characters. And a new feature that is really handy is if you want to see only these characters that have the AI tag, you can easily filter this list to only the AI generated ones. And now I can see all the characters Positron found those cues for, and I can, quickly add them to my character guide. So really helpful to give you a snapshot of characters instantly just by uploading a manuscript.
And that is something we're constantly working to optimize and improve. It's a great start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing is, we'll be able to show you what page this detail came from, so you can then, confirm and do deeper research. But yeah, that is the character guide. The last thing I'll show you is once you go through and you research all your pronunciations here and you've researched your characters, really handy way to kickstart marking up your script is using this export mark script button right here. So I can click that. And what this allows me to do is download a copy of my script. You'll see it downloads a copy. If I open this up and let's find Sherlock, you'll see Sherlock's been highlighted on every occurrence. And if I hover over him, I'll actually see a comment containing all of the notes that I put into Positron straight in my PDF. So as you're reading, if you forget what Sherlock's supposed to sound like, you can just find his name here and see a snapshot of those details. There's a link to the voice recording as well. And you'll also see all of these words in yellow or highlighted in yellow these are from my pronunciation guide. If I hover over Charing here, we'll see I have that phonetic spelling and link to the recording here as well. So really easy way if you do mark up your script to get a head start using Positron there. All right, let's pull this back up and make sure I got everything. Last thing on prep, and then we'll move towards the proofing tool, is this transfer research. So this is really, really helpful when you're working on a series of audiobooks or books in the same universe or an e-learning project that has all the same, corporate lingo. anything you need to reuse in other projects from the pronunciation guide or the character guide. Under the import export button here, you'll see this transfer research button. And this allows me to take all the words from this project and jump them to another book in my library here. So we'll see all of these books here. These are all the different projects I have. Let's say this was Jungle Book 1 and I'm working on Jungle Book 2. I can just transfer all these words to that project. It's a really helpful way to not waste any research you have and reuse it in future series. Alrighty. So moving forward to the proofing tool. So once you've done all your prep, you would then go outside of Pozotron. Actually, Adam, did you have something to add?
No.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. It looked like you're about to say something.
No. I was reading an email with frustration.
Fair enough. Okay. So once you've done all your prep, you'll go outside of Pozotron to whatever DAW you use and actually record the chapter, record the whole book, and then you'll come to the proofing tool. So I'll show you that next. The proofing tool is really the bread and butter of Pozotron. What this does is once you've recorded either a chapter or multiple chapters, you drag and drop them in this box here. It'll take a few minutes and Pozotron will process all of these audio files. Once it's done, the status bar will show you up here, it'll show you the total amount of suggestions that Pozotron's made on all of your chapters. And then each chapter has their own number. And this is the amount of potential mistakes that Pozotron found in this chapter. And to look at those in detail, I'm going to click this Open Proofing button. So this brings me to the proofing interface. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit so it's easier for everyone to see. What we're looking at here is the script, or it's a copy of your script with no images. If there's images in there, we'll take them out and you will only see the text from your manuscript here. Now, usually to proof, you'd have the PDF open, the DAW open, which has the audio, and then you'd have like an Excel spreadsheet to track all the mistakes. We basically combined all of that into one screen here. So this is the script, but it's also synchronized to the audio. So I can click anywhere I want in this script. I'm going to click right here and then press the space bar to play.
Our audio proofing tool is designed to catch the key mistakes your narrator may make during narration, including...
I press space bar to pause that there. You'll see it highlights every word that's said at the exact moment. So it's really easy to follow along. You'll also see all these red underlines. So kind of like spell check, Pozotron's suggesting that there might be something wrong here. All of these underlines here, these are called annotations, are also listed on the left-hand side. So you can scroll through, you can actually click these to navigate to that section of the script and audio. But as I listen to them, I'll also mark them. And we'll listen to one as an example here.
Including words accidentally added into the script by the narrator.
So I press spacebar again to pause it. So we can see here that the word inserted here, the word accidentally, the narrator said it, but it's not written in the script. So Pozotron's like, hey, what are you doing? You inserted a word here. And now you decide, or the proofer decides, if this is a correction that needs to be corrected. To do that, there's these little buttons down here. You can mark it as OK, which says this is a minor error. There's no need to fix it. Or you can mark it as a major error that needs to be fixed by clicking Pickup here. Also, if there's any typos in the script that you correct when you read them, you can mark these for the author as well. So I'm going to mark this as a pickup. And we'll see it's flagged that now as a pickup, and I'm going to move on to the next one.
Words missed from the script, of course.
So here it'll also catch any words that are not narrated. So if they're written in the script and you don't narrate them, it's going to say these words were missing. So any skipped lines, things like that, it'll flag. So I'm going to mark that as a pickup as well.
Of course, it will find misperceptions and misspoken words.
So here we can see that the narrator, or we can hear and see that he said misperceptions instead of mispronunciations. So all of these kinds of misreads, Positron is going to pick up. You'll also see there's a filter out button here. And this is like the add to dictionary button in spell check, where if you click filter out, Positron will not suggest this particular mistake to you throughout the rest of the project. It's really useful for some made up words. Let's say there's an Elvish language in the book. Positron has no idea what the correct pronunciations for those are. Hopefully, you research those in the pronunciation guide first. Uh, but if it's flagging it every time you say it, you can click filter out and it will ignore it throughout the rest of the project. So you don't need to click OK on each occurrence of that word. But this is a pickup, so I'm going to actually mark it there. Last couple things it'll flag are long pauses and any problems with the audio, like background noises or clipping. So I'll play those for you now.
Pauses longer than 2 seconds. Noises, including audio distortions, synthetic sound issues.
So we can see here there was a long pause. It tells you the length of the pause as well, so you can determine if this is too long for your project. You can filter these out as well if you'd like to change the threshold of where Positron should mark pauses. So if I filter this out and click yes, now 2.4 seconds is the threshold. Anything longer than that will still get flagged. Anything shorter will be ignored. And then background noises here, we'll also mark that as a pickup as well. So those are the 5 kinds of things Positron will flag. The misread sections are added words, missing words, and mispronunciations or misreads. And then there's pauses and noises that it'll flag as well. The last kind of annotation is a manual annotation. So let's say listening to this line, I just don't like the way I said it, or there's something else wrong here. If you click and highlight it, you can easily create a pickup with this speech bubble button right here. And if I click that, you'll see it opens up a new annotation, and I can say, add more emotion or whatever I want to fix there. Hit save, and now we can see this is highlighted and this is marked as a pickup. There are a couple other buttons when you click and highlight any section here. You can download just this clip of audio. So if there's a paragraph that you want to split this up in audio, you can just download that right here. And the other one allows you to save it to either your pronunciation guide or character guide, which is really handy if there's, again, like a made up Elvish word. I can click it, highlight it, and then save this word to an item on my pronunciation guide. There are some more advanced features, but that is the basics of how the proofing tool works. So essentially, we're just trying to help you find all of those pickups, make it really easy for you to spot and correct them. Next, I'll show you how to use our reports to actually correct these pickups. But if there's any questions on that, feel free to drop them in. And there's one more workflow that I'll show you, which is really handy. And it's called speed mode. So this is a different workflow. So it's really up to you how you want to use Positron. If you want to do a full listen through, it's really easy. You just go to the beginning and you listen through to everything consecutively, paying special attention to these red underlines as you get to them. Now, if you just want to do a spot check, let me actually go through and mark the rest of these so that it looks finished when I come back here. To do a spot check, I'm going to open up another chapter here. And this involves using a couple of hotkeys on your keyboard. And there's a ton of ways to speed it up with hotkeys, but the important ones I want to teach you about today are the keys A for OK, D for pickup, and then spacebar to play and pause the audio. So these are keys you can hit on your keyboard that will interact with Positron. And from here, if I select a annotation on the left-hand side, you'll see it's got this yellow border around it. This shows that it's selected. And if I press A on my keyboard, you'll see it marks it as OK, and it instantly jumps to the next one in the list. So I skipped over everything from here to here, and now I can press spacebar to listen to it.
Since those who know him give him this mark of their appreciation.
And I can press spacebar to pause it. I can say that's okay, doesn't need to be corrected. It instantly jumps to the next one in the list. Then I'll press play again.
Service of the hospital in order to start a practice for himself.
So he said the wrong word there, so I'll press D to mark it as a pickup. And you don't even need to pause it, actually. You can just let it roll and mark them as you hear it. So I'm going to press play and let it go.
Incredulously, as Sherlock Holmes leaned back into his settee
So
and
that's a
blew
pickup.
small medical shelf, I took down the medical dictionary and turned up the name.
That's a pickup.
Agile and restless as the antennae of an insect.
That's
Heard
okay.
always appeals strongly. Then had you better not consult him. Demand
That's a
my
pickup.
assistance.
And that's okay. So here I jumped through all of Pozotron's suggestions in a 12-minute audio file in 20 seconds or so. So I just wanted to show you that that workflow exists. If you know somebody else is going to be doing a full listen through, and they'll mark things like tone and inflection and whatever, you can get rid of the big mistakes right away using that speed mode there. It looks like we have a question from Dana. If a proofer ad, oh, go ahead.
I was muted. I was just about to say that. I can
Gotcha.
if approver adds to character or pronunciations that is available to the admin. I'm assuming she means project owner. I like that. Like, would I be able to access that and transfer? Yes. Everything you add, no matter who, if you give someone access to edit either the proofing or edit the pronunciation guide or character guide, everything is shared by the users. So essentially what that does is it's a collaboration tool. So nothing is hidden from other users. You add something, it's visible to everyone else. So to answer your question, Dana, absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. The only thing that these permissions determine is what they can actually edit. But as soon as you add someone to a project, they're going to be able to see everything there. And they will be able to transfer research. Well, again, depending on their permissions, but yeah, they'll be able to transfer research. And if you are the project owner, absolutely, anything they add in here, you'll have access to. But thanks for the question. So that's it for the proofing tool. That's a general workflow. You would go through each chapter marking. You'll see here it shows the total amount of pickups that I marked. So I have 10 things in these 2 chapters that I need to fix. And I have individual metrics here as well. 6 things to fix in this chapter, 4 things to fix in this chapter. And next I'll show you how to do that. But I do have a short pit stop, which is PDF issues. This is something that can look very daunting if you just started with Pozotron, and this is your proofing tool, and you see all these red underlines and absolute gobbledygook everywhere. Don't panic about that. This is caused by PDFs having hidden formatting, or there is not any optical character recognition done, which is a term that basically means the words have been recognized in your PDF, or there's a crazy font or ligatures. So you don't really need to worry about why it's happening. If you see something like this, and you're in Pozotron and you see there's 10,000 suggestions here and it looks all crazy, we're really excited to show you this. This was just released yesterday, I believe. This is our PDF issue detection and fix options. It's this little icon here. So if you notice any weird stuff, or there's a warning or anything like that, one, you can always reach out to us. But if you want to fix it yourself, you can click this button here. And this is Pozotron's automatic PDF fixer, essentially. For any of those issues where it's not recognizing the text, all you have to do is click this Fix My PDF option, because these will be turned on. These are the settings you want. The optical character recognition. This is just how software recognizes text. So we'll redo that and fix any issues that are in your PDF. It'll also reprocess all of the audio in your project. So if I've uploaded, 7 chapters here, it'll reprocess it all, give me new annotations, and hopefully clear out any of those weird issues
And
there.
it'll reprocess it for free, so it won't double charge you. It'll just
Yep.
reprocess everything with the new fixed PDF.
Yep. Great point. You're not charged for anything. And in the past, you would have had to create a whole new project and blah, blah, blah. So we're really excited that it's just a click of a button now to resolve that. So with that pit stop out of the way, don't panic if you see this. Just use that button or reach out to us. The next options are, so after you've gone ahead and proofed everything, all you've really done in Pozotron is you've flagged them. So now we actually have to correct those pickups, and I'll show you how to do that here with a couple of handy reports. So once we go through, I've got all these pickups here. I'm going to go to import export right here. There's a ton of different reports down here. There's the most importantly, I think, is the DOM marker report right here. This is especially helpful if you're doing the editing yourself. You can click DOM markers, and what it'll do is, and you'll make sure DOM markers is selected there. It lets you choose whatever software you're using to record. We've got all the mainstream ones here, so if yours isn't on the list, let us know. But you just go ahead and choose which one you're using. And you can select some chapters or do all chapters. I'm just going to select the first one so I can show you that. When I hit export, see it downloads a zip file. And in there, I've got this one chapter here, and you'll see it's named after the chapter. I'm going to extract this from the zip file, and now it's ready to go. So now I'm going to open up Audacity. And let me get that open and bring it over here. From here, I'm going to open this audio file. So that should be right there. Here's the audio file, and then I'm going to import the file I downloaded from Pozotron. So in Audacity, the way you do that is you go to File, Import, Labels. And if you're working in another system, we have tutorials on each one of them. So if you want to learn how to do it in Pro Tools or Audition, just let us know and we'll shoot you over that link. But now I'm going to find the file, which is right here, and I'll just double click it. So we'll see what this did is it actually shows me exactly where all these pickups are that I marked in my audio file. So it's really easy to find, okay, this is where I needed to add more emotion and all that. It just puts it right in front of you so you don't need to copy any timestamps or anything. And then in combination with this, if I go to import export and go to pickup packet, this is our other really handy report. This automatically generates a report. If I scroll down, you'll see each of your pickups is broken out into a little box here. And this contains the text that you need to reread. It has the timestamp. It has the original audio, so you can listen to the tone of the sentence before recording. And if they're really close together, it'll also combine them. So you can say, oh, I just need to reread this whole section here to get rid of all those pickups. And what a lot of our narrators do is they got this one open, they have that one open, and I go like that, have them side by side. So I can start at the top, find that first marker here, and re-record it, scroll down, find the next ones, re-record that. So it lays it all out and gives you a map to follow. So really, really handy reports. And let's see, is there anything else on that? The proofing report and typo report are other options as well. So let me show you what those do quickly. Pull this back up. These are just the main reports. As you can see, there's a ton of different ones. So if you have a particular use case, you need subtitles or something, you can get all those here. But the proofing report is an Excel version of this report here. So it's going to have the same information. It'll have the issue, what went wrong, the context, and timestamp. However, it won't have the audio. It'll just have a link to this. So we like to pick a packet, but if you need an Excel sheet as well, you can get that from the proofing report right here. And then the typo report, I didn't mark anything as a typo, but I'll go ahead and do that. So if I mark something as typos, this can be really helpful to send to the author afterwards. If you want to help them with this, just hit typo report, hit export, downloads an Excel sheet, and let me pull that over so you can see it. And it looks like this here. So it'll have each chapter, and then it'll have the typo found by narrator, and it'll have that listed here for the authors. And it also gives them the page number so they know where to find it. All right, I think that's it for the reports. So moving on to audio analysis. So this is a great tool. It's a last check. What it allows you to do is test your mastered audio files against mainstream distributor specifications like ACX or Spotify. You can just upload your mastered files to Pozotron. And I'm worried I didn't actually upload any. Oh, I did. Okay, good. So we have some files in here. These should be your mastered files. You can do your raw files as well, but most likely they're going to fail. So these should be mastered files. You can select your preset right here. So I've got a few default ones, ACX, Spotify, things like that. You can also create your own presets if you work with a specific publisher or distributor that has their own requirements. Just get those requirements and type them in here, hit create, and then you can test your files against them. So I've uploaded my files here. Just drag and drop them in this file, this field. Hit show analysis. We can see most of my files failed here. But what's really helpful is we don't just tell you if they passed or failed. We'll actually show you what specifications need to be changed to bring these files up to par here. So I got file duration, sample rate, sample peak, RMS, noise floor, top and tail duration. It'll check for duplicates as well, the format, bit rate, everything you need to check for. You can check this before you upload to not Positron, to ACX and make sure it's all good to go. And that's the general workflow. So you'd start with prep in the pronunciation and character guide, get all that ready, go and record, drop your files into proofing, find and correct these mistakes. Then you'd go and master your files, and then you can upload it to audio analysis here as your final check. So that's the basic workflow in Positron. You'll see there are some additional tools up here like scan occurrences, but we just wanted to show the basics today. We do have maybe a little bit of time, so maybe we'll go over that as well. Anything to add, Adam, to that workflow?
No, unsurprisingly, you did an awesome job.
Thank you.
If you do, we are adding a couple things to audio analysis, LUFS, which is a European measurement, I think that is instead of RMS, and a few other things. But if you do have anything you'd like us to see tested, please let us know. And please do also those custom specs are really powerful. So if you do, to my understanding, there are other tools that do similar things to this, but no one allows you to, certainly not for free, allow you to create your own test specs. So please go ahead and try that out.
Absolutely. So closing out here, just some best practices. I want to show you one. We already went over the automatic PDF fixer, but we will say PDFs are a pretty troublesome format. So chances are you're gonna run into a PDF that eventually doesn't work well with other software. So just a reminder that PDF fixer is a huge time saver. So be aware of that. That's that little button I showed you earlier. It looks like we do have a question from Aaron. Does the audio analysis allow for passages that are louder and or quieter than the rest of the content? Currently, no. It would just test your whole file against the specifications. But usually, if you're uploading it to, ACX, they'll have their requirements there. So if it should be louder or something than other sections, I think they'd still want it to be in the range of accepted audio. but that's an interesting question. Again, the custom specifications might be best for a situation like that if you have uh, different levels that you need checked for throughout your audio files. But great question. Um, and Annalise, I see you said, can you do RMS issue? Maybe if you want to clarify exactly what you're looking for there, like can we correct it, or if you want to clarify your question, happy to answer that there. But in the meantime, just to show you quickly where to get support, we pride ourselves on our quick response time. So the easiest and best way to get in touch with us is this Get Help button. Right here, this opens up a little window and it'll automatically share the project with us as well. So if you're having an issue, this gives us access and we can correct whatever you're running into there. But just put your details in here. And if you have any screenshots or screen recordings, those are always really helpful. So you can upload those right there as well. So I'd say this is a great way to get any help. If you do want to look at our tutorials or our help center, there's our support page right here. This brings you to whatever page you're on when you press this. It'll bring you to the support article for that tool. So I'm in audio analysis. When I click that, brings me to the overview of audio analysis tool. So it's really helpful if you're in a screen, like what does this do? Click that. You can also search for anything there. We have a ton of different articles. Yeah, sorry, I'm reading Annalise's question. You mentioned that you can do an example of an audio issue today. Not exactly sure what you're looking for there. So audio issues, the examples for finding those is in our proofing tool. So in the proofing tool, it will find any audio issues that are like background noises or booth sounds or things like that will get flagged here. But Pozotron doesn't actually correct any audio files. We don't edit your files. We can tell you if something went wrong, either in the proofing tool or in audio analysis, but you do have to go into your own system, your DAW, to actually correct those issues. We're also happy to do any one-on-one calls. If you have more questions, that's another thing that you can do. You can always book a demo with us. If you go to My Projects here, where is that button? Is it down here? Book a training call. Yep. So if you're looking for help, you can always meet with me or Adam or Daria from our team. Just book a call. We're always happy to hop on a one-on-one and walk you through something or help you with an issue. So definitely use that. Also from our homepage is our tutorials section here. So these are really useful short videos that explain kind of what we went over today, the basics of each of our tools. So if you do need a reminder, you can peruse these and see what the scan occurrences tool does and all of that. You can access that here. Lastly, I already showed you that, so where to submit support tickets. But lastly, if you do have any suggestions, questions, feedback, anything, feel free to reach out to us at help@pozotron.com with anything you'd like. And we're really receptive of that. A lot of the great ideas and features that we... Oh, there's Adam's alarm. All of those great ideas, a lot of them came from narrators giving us feedback. So we're super open to that. Yeah, hope to hear from you soon. But I hope this was helpful. This all I had going. Yeah, go ahead, Adam, if you had
Sorry,
something to add.
everyone, for the noise. That is my meeting reminder for my next meeting.
You just scared everyone attending. But that is it. If you do have any questions, there's a little bit of time left. So we're here if you have any questions you'd like to ask. Dana, you're very welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. And thanks for attending. So with that, if no questions, you can always reach out if you think of something later. But thanks so much for attending and have a great rest of your day and rest of August. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.